The start point is this, that Tim and I have always had a commitment to social justice, poverty reduction, a fairer world, etc. Clearly with the recognition that education can make a difference, firmly committed to that principle that education can instigate and make change and is a very powerful force for change. So coming from that background, thinking, well, what can education do? What should it do? How can we ensure that the sort of difference it is making is a positive difference and the sort of difference that we'd like to make? And we thought, well, what's that got to do with education? Well, again, as you probably know, there's lots of research that tells us that, well, more and more education exists. We're doing more and more education, and yet we still seem to be on the same pathway, a pathway of environmental damage, biodiversity loss, climate change, etc. So clearly then, if we need more education, or if education is the answer, then we need to think about what kind of education we're providing, and think, does that education need to be different and not just more? So clearly that led us to think, well, maybe we need to reframe, rethink about what education is doing, how it's structured, how it's offered, to think maybe the message needs to be different. What we're doing in education needs to be different to try to create this better world that I'm sure we would all like to see. And we've also been concerned about the fact that as people are involved in education studies in a department where we've got potential teachers, potential educators coming through, we were concerned to think, well, surely those educators need to be people who challenge policy, who think about what they're doing, who think about what it is that they're carrying out in their day-to-day work. And they're not just passive receivers of policy that comes from government or comes from wherever else it's coming from, but they're critical engagers with that policy and thinking, well, is this the right sort of education? Is this the right sort of pathway? Is this what I want to be doing? And is this how I want to be educating people? So that was our start point. So where are we now? We've modified the module descriptors, we've looked at the module outlines, we're thinking of tweaking the assessments, and we will be thinking again about our teaching approach.
We do have concerns.
In a minute, Tim.
Yeah, we do have these concerns. We are very aware that with our messing around with the competencies, there's a good chance we might have lost sight of what they're all about. Okay, to get very excited and we just get stuck in a different way of doing things. So we need to revisit those and have a really good look at those. And also we need to make sure the connections we've made, make adequate connections and also complete connections, and also just making sure we've fully understood what the nature of these competencies are. That is our concern. Okay.
So what next? We hope, we just put in a bid and we would like to, if possible, amend our publicity so we can kind of badge the course to make explicit our commitment, and any publicity material we've got, the handbooks, etc. Produce a student's guide to the competencies to show them what we think they mean and to help them interpret the competencies, and also to show them where we think we kind of cover those through the course. What we'd really like to do is then, if possible, produce a portfolio for students to record their engagement with the competencies, so they can, if they want, show their commitment to show how they're meeting the competencies, or at least engaging. Meeting them is always kind of what we mean by meeting, but at least engaging with them. And potentially explore university recognition of students who have engaged through that coverage of the competencies, which possibly could even link to an extended academic year project. So that could potentially roll out. So we're interested in thinking about that.